The massive alien ship hung in space like a floating crystal. Lieutenant Jun Kim watched it through the viewport of the human diplomatic vessel. His heart beat fast in his chest. This was a big day for all humans. First official contact with the Tainari race. "Are you nervous?" Captain Han asked, standing next to him. "A little," Jun admitted. He felt something warm press against his leg. Looking down, he smiled at the sight of Daejang, his German shepherd. The dog's brown eyes looked up at him with complete trust. Jun bent down and scratched behind Daejang's ears. "At least I have you, buddy." Captain Han looked at the dog with a small frown. "Are you sure bringing him is a good idea? We don't know how the Tainari will react to animals." The agreement said each diplomat could bring one personal item for comfort during the mission. "Daejang is mine," Jun said firmly. He had the proper papers. No one could make him leave his dog behind. "Very well, Lieutenant. Prepare to board their ship in 30 minutes. The human team consisted of 5 diplomats, each from different countries on Earth. Jun represented not just Korea, but all of Asia in this historic meeting. He straightened his blue uniform and checked that Daejang's special space collar was secure. The dog had been on many space trips before and knew how to behave in zero gravity. When the airlock opened to the Tainari ship, Jun gasped. The inside looked like a forest made of glass and light. Tall, thin aliens with blue-green skin waited for them. Their large eyes had no pupils, just swirling colors like tiny galaxies. The tallest Tainari stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Nixara. Welcome to the vessel of the Tainari Collective." Her voice sounded like bells and water. She spoke perfect English, though her mouth moved strangely around the words. Captain Han bowed slightly. "Thank you for your welcome. We bring greetings from Earth." Nixara's eyes moved across the human group, then stopped at Daejang. Her smooth face twisted into a look of disgust. "What is this creature?" she asked, pointing one long finger at the dog. Jun stepped forward. "This is Daejang, my companion animal, a dog from Earth." The other Tainari whispered to each other. Nixara's eyes narrowed. "You bring a lesser beast to our first diplomatic meeting." Her voice was cold now. "Is this some kind of insult?" "Not at all," Jun said quickly. "On Earth, dogs are companions and helpers. Daejang is well trained and will not cause any problems." Nixara made a strange sound, something between a laugh and a hiss. "How primitive. You keep non-sentient animals as friends." The way she said the word friends made it sound like something dirty. "We have evolved beyond such attachments," she continued. "We create purpose-built drones for work that requires no intelligence. We do not form emotional bonds with lesser creatures." Daejang sat calmly at Jun's side, but his ears were alert. He sensed the tension. "Different cultures, different customs," Captain Han said smoothly. "We hope to learn from each other during our stay." Nixara stared at Daejang for a long moment. Then she smiled, but the smile did not reach her eyes. "Very well. The creature may stay, if it is important to your comfort." She laughed again, and the other Tainari joined her. Jun felt his face grow hot, but he kept his expression neutral. This was diplomacy. He would not show anger. "Thank you, Ambassador," he said politely. "Now please follow me to your quarters. The welcoming ceremony will begin in 2 hours." Nixara turned and walked away, her movements fluid like water. As they followed her through the crystal hallways, Jun felt Daejang press closer to his leg. He looked down at his loyal friend and whispered, "Don't worry, boy. We'll show them what Earth dogs can do." Little did Jun know how true those words would become in the days ahead. 1 week had passed since the humans arrived on the Tainari ship. Jun and the other diplomats now lived in the guest area of Veshtari, the main city inside the massive vessel. The rooms were beautiful but strange, with walls that changed color based on the time of day. Jun sat at a clear table, reading reports on his tablet. Daejang lay at his feet, napping. The dog had been a perfect guest so far, but that didn't stop the Teneri from staring whenever they passed by. A soft chime sounded at the door. "Enter," Jum called. The door slid open without a sound. A female Teneri walked in, shorter than Nixara, but with the same blue-green skin. Her eyes swirled with gentler colors. "Lieutenant Kim, I am Una," she said with a small bow. "I chose this name because I find your Earth languages fascinating." Jum stood and returned the bow. "Nice to meet you, Una. What can I do for you?" "I am a science officer. I was hoping to learn more about." She pointed at Daejang. "This creature. This dog, as you call it." At the mention of his species, Daejang lifted his head. His tail wagged slowly against the floor. "He knows you're talking about him," Jum said with a smile. Yuna's eyes widened. "It understands language." "Not exactly. But dogs can recognize certain words and read emotions. They're very smart animals." Yuna took a cautious step forward. "May I observe it closer?" "Of course." "Daejang, say hello." The German Shepherd stood up and walked to Yuna. He sat in front of her, tail still wagging gently. Yuna froze. What is it doing? "Being friendly. He won't hurt you. You can touch him if you want." Yuna slowly reached out one long finger. Daejang sniffed it, then licked her hand. Yuna jumped back. "It attacked me with its mouth," she gasped. Jum laughed. "No, that's a lick. It's how dogs show affection." Yuna looked at her hand with wonder. "Affection? From an animal?" "Yes. Dogs and humans have lived together for thousands of years. They're not just pets. They're family." Yuna sat down across from Jun, her eyes never leaving Daejang. "Our people don't understand this. We build machines and grow special creatures in labs when we need help with tasks. We don't form bonds with them." "That's sad," Jun said. "Some of the best relationships on Earth are between different species." A new voice cut through the room. "How touching." Ambassador Nixara stood at the door, her tall form casting a long shadow. "Yuna, why are you wasting time with this animal? The Science Council needs your report." Yuna stood quickly. "Yes, Ambassador. I was just doing research on human customs." Nixara walked into the room, looking down at Daejang with cold eyes. "Lieutenant Kim, the other diplomats are discussing resource-sharing agreements. You should join them." She turned to leave, then added, "And keep your beast away from important areas. Some of our people find it unsettling." After Nixara left, Yuna looked embarrassed. "I'm sorry. Not all Teneri think like the ambassador." "It's okay," Jun said. "New ideas take time." Yuna nodded. "May I visit again to learn more about dogs?" "Of course. Daejang would like that." As if understanding, Daejang barked once. Yuna jumped again, but this time she laughed. A musical sound unlike Nixara's cold laugh. "Amazing," she said. "Maybe there is something to these bonds you speak of." After Yuna left, Jun knelt beside Daejang. "Good job, buddy. One Teneri down, a whole ship to go." Outside their quarters, the massive Teneri ship continued its journey through space. Unknown to the humans, deep in restricted areas, Nixara was having very different conversations about the future of human-Teneri relations, and those plans had no place for creatures like Daejang. That night, Jun couldn't sleep. He sat on the edge of his bed, looking at an old photo on his tablet. The picture showed a younger Jun holding a tiny German Shepherd puppy. Daejang, now fully grown, rested his head on Jun's knee, as if he knew what his human was thinking about. "It's been 5 years, buddy," Jun whispered, scratching behind the dog's ears. The memories came back strong and clear. The shuttle accident, the fire, the screams. Jun had been only 22 then, a new officer on his first space mission with his parents visiting to see him off. When the shuttle's engine failed and it crashed into the launch bay, Jun's parents didn't make it out. But in the burning wreckage, Jun had found a small box. Inside was a puppy, a gift his parents had planned to surprise him with. Both the puppy and Jun were hurt in the crash. They healed together in the hospital, forming a bond that never broke. Jun named the puppy Daejang, meaning general in Korean, because even as a tiny pup, he had a brave heart. A soft knock at the door broke through his thoughts. "Come in," he called. Yuna entered, carrying what looked like a data tablet. "I hope I'm not disturbing your rest cycle," she said. "Not at all. I was just remembering." Yuna looked at the photo on Jun's tablet. "Is that Daejang? He was so small." "Yes, the day we found each other." Jun surprised himself by telling Yuna the whole story. About the crash, his parents, the healing. As he spoke, Daejang moved closer, as if offering support for the hard memories. When he finished, Yuna was quiet for a long moment. "Among my people, we do not speak of grief," she finally said. "It is seen as a weakness. But what you describe, this healing together, it sounds like strength." Jun nodded. "On Earth, we have a saying, shared pain is half the pain. Shared joy is twice the joy. And you share both with this creature. This dog who cannot even speak. Words aren't everything. Daejang knows when I'm sad. He stays close. When I'm happy, he gets excited too. That's real communication." "Fascinating," Yuna said. She hesitantly reached out and touched Daejang's fur. This time, she didn't jump when he licked her hand. "I brought something to show you," she said, turning on her tablet. "These are the other delegates from Earth." The screen showed videos of the other human diplomats in their quarters. One woman was talking to a small plant she had brought from Earth. Another man looked at pictures of his children. The third diplomat was writing in a paper journal. "Your people all bring comfort items from home," Yuna observed. "Ambassador Chu speaks to her plant. Dr. Reed writes letters to his mate that cannot be sent until we return to Earth. You have Daejang. We need connections," Jun explained. "Things that remind us who we are, where we come from. Tanare do not need such things," Yuna said, but her voice held a question. "Don't you miss anyone when you travel?" Jun asked. Yuna thought for a moment. "I had a clutch mate. We grew together. We do not see each other now that we have different duties. Sometimes I think of her. That's the same feeling." Yuna smiled slightly. Perhaps we are not so different after all. Unknown to them, in the hallway outside, Ambassador Nixera stood silently, listening. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes swirled with dark colors. "Connections are weaknesses," she whispered to herself, "and all weaknesses can be exploited." She walked away, already planning how to use what she had learned against the humans, especially the one with the dog. 2 weeks had passed. The talks between humans and Tainari were not going well. Jun could feel it in the air, like the heavy feeling before a storm. He walked through the crystal hallways with Daejang at his side. They were heading to the daily meeting with the other human diplomats. Daejang suddenly stopped walking and growled softly. "What is it, boy?" Jun asked. The dog's ears were up, his body tense. He was looking down a side hallway that was marked as off-limits to the humans. Jun looked that way too. He saw several Tanari in what looked like armor moving quickly. They were carrying long, thin objects that reminded Jun of weapons. The Tanari had said they had no weapons on this ship. So what were those? "Come on, Daejang," Jun whispered. "Let's go." They hurried to the meeting room where Captain Han and the other 3 diplomats were waiting. "Lieutenant Kim, you're late," Captain Han said. "I'm sorry, sir, but I just saw something strange." Jun told them about the armed Tanari. Dr. Reed frowned. "I've noticed more guards around our quarters too. And they've limited our access to many areas this week," added Ambassador Chu. Captain Han looked worried. "I don't like this. The resource-sharing talks are at a critical point. Earth needs the rare metals the Tanari have, but they're asking too much in return. Maybe we should contact Earth Command," Jun suggested. Let them know about these changes. Captain Han nodded. Good idea. Use the secure channel in your quarters. Don't let the Tinari know what you're doing. After the meeting, Jun went straight to his room. He sat at his desk and activated the secure communication system built into his tablet. But when he tried to connect to Earth's relay station, the screen showed only static. That's strange, he muttered. He tried 3 more times. Nothing. Daijang paced by the door, clearly uneasy. Then the dog went to the window and placed his front paws on the ledge, looking out. Jun joined him. From this window, they could see a large part of the Tinari vessel. There was a lot of movement below. More armed Tinari, more equipment being moved. Something's happening, Jun said to himself. The door chimed. Daijang turned and growled. Quiet boy, Jun said, though he was glad for his dog's warning. Enter. It was Yume. She looked nervous. Lieutenant Kim, I came to check on you, she said. Her voice shook slightly. What's going on, Yume? Why are there armed Tinari everywhere? And why can't I contact Earth? Yume glanced behind her before stepping fully into the room. The door closed. Ambassador Nixara has convinced the High Council that humans are not to be trusted, she whispered. She says your people plan to steal our technology once you learn where our home world is. That's not true, Jun said. We want peaceful trade, nothing more. I believe you, Yuna said, but Nixara has much power. The door opened again. Ambassador Nixara herself stood there, 2 armed guards beside her. Yume, what a surprise to find you here, Nixara said coldly. The Science Council has been looking for you. Yuna stepped back. Ambassador, I was just. Leave us, Nixara ordered. Now. Yuna gave Jun one last look, full of worry, then hurried out. Nixara looked at Jun, then at Daijang. The dog was standing protectively in front of his human, hackles raised. Your beast senses danger, Nixara said with a cold laugh. Smarter than I thought. What do you want? Jun asked. To inform you that tonight's diplomatic dinner has been moved to the Grand Hall. All Earth delegates are required to attend. She smiled, but her eyes were dark. It will be a night to remember. After she left, Daijang wouldn't stop pacing and whining. Jun felt the same worry in his own heart. I don't like this, buddy, he said, petting the dog to calm them both. Not one bit. The grand hall of the Tinari ship glowed with a soft blue light. Crystal tables held strange foods and drinks. All 5 human diplomats were there, dressed in their best uniforms. Captain Han had ordered them to attend despite their concerns. We can't show fear, he had told them. Whatever they're planning, we need to be brave. Jun stood near the wall, watching the Tinari officials talk among themselves. He had been forced to leave Daijang locked in his quarters. Nixara had been very clear about that. No beasts at an official dinner, she had said with a cold smile. Jun couldn't stop thinking about Daijang, alone and worried. The dog had been very upset when Jun left. Yuna approached him, offering a cup of blue liquid. It's safe for humans, she whispered. But be careful tonight. Something is wrong. Before she could say more, Nixara called for attention. She stood on a raised platform at the center of the hall. Honored guests from Earth, she began. We have shared knowledge and culture. Now we must discuss the future of our peoples. Captain Han stepped forward. We are ready to sign the trade agreement as discussed. Nixara smiled. I'm afraid the terms have changed. She made a motion with her hand. Suddenly, the doors to the hall slammed shut. Armed Tinari appeared from hidden doors around the room. What is this? Captain Han demanded. This is negotiation from a position of strength, Nixara said. Your Earth is weak. You need our metals. We need your water worlds. We will take them. This is an act of war, Dr. Reed shouted. No, Nixara replied calmly. This is simply the strong taking from the weak, as it should be. She nodded to one of her guards, who raised his weapon. But before he could fire, the lights went out. Total darkness filled the room. Jun heard shouting. Something exploded near him, throwing him against the wall. Pain shot through his leg. He tried to stand but couldn't. His leg was broken. Emergency lights came on, casting red shadows everywhere. The room was in chaos. Some of the Tainari were fighting each other. Jun realized that not all of them had agreed with Nixara's plan. He crawled toward a side door, dragging his broken leg. He needed to get back to Daejang. They needed to find a way to warn Earth. The ceiling above him cracked. Pieces of crystal fell around him. One large piece hit his shoulder, sending him flat to the floor. The pain was terrible. Through blurry eyes, he saw Nixara walking toward him. She looked angry. "This wasn't supposed to happen," she hissed. "Some of our people are too soft. Too much like you humans." She knelt beside him. "You and your Earth friends were to be blamed for an attack. A tragic accident. Then your leaders would agree to any terms to get the rest of you back safely." More explosions shook the room. The fighting was getting worse. "But now, plans change," Nixara said. She stood up. "This part of the ship will be sealed off. The fire will destroy all evidence. Your people will never know what happened here." "You won't get away with this," Joan gasped through the pain. Nixara laughed. "And who will stop me? Your beast?" She kicked his injured leg, making him cry out. "Where is your loyal pet now, human?" She turned and walked away, leaving him on the floor as fire spread through the room. Jun tried to move, but the pain was too much. Smoke filled his lungs. He thought of Daejang, locked in his quarters. At least the dog would be safe from the fire. As darkness started to take him, Jun heard a sound that seemed impossible. Barking. Somehow, Daejang was coming for him. Smoke filled the grand hall. Flames jumped from wall to wall. Jun lay on the floor, unable to move. His leg was broken, and his shoulder hurt badly. The air was getting harder to breathe. He tried to call for help, but only coughs came out. The other human diplomats were gone. Either they had escaped, or they were trapped in another part of the burning room. The barking grew louder. Then, through the smoke, Jun saw a shape moving toward him. Low to the ground, fast and determined. Daejang. The German shepherd's fur was singed in places. He had a cut over one eye. But he was there, pushing through flames to reach his human. "Daejang," Jun whispered. "How did you get out?" The dog reached him and licked his face. Then Daejang grabbed Jun's uniform sleeve with his teeth and pulled. Jun understood. "You want me to move." He tried to crawl, following Daejang's lead. The pain in his leg was terrible, but he forced himself to keep going. Daejang stayed right beside him, guiding him toward a small service door that Jun hadn't noticed before. They made it to the door just as another part of the ceiling fell behind them. The service corridor was narrow, but had less smoke. "Good boy," Jun said, his voice weak. "So smart." But they weren't safe yet. The fire was spreading through the whole area. Jun couldn't crawl much farther. His vision was starting to go dark at the edges. Daejang seemed to sense this. The dog made a decision. He moved in front of Jun and barked once, loudly. Then, very carefully, Daejang got his body under Jun's arm. With surprising strength, the dog stood up, lifting Jun partly off the ground. "What are you doing?" Jun asked through his pain. Daejang began to move forward, half carrying, half dragging Jun. The dog was taking most of his weight, keeping the broken leg from touching the ground. Jun couldn't believe what was happening. His dog, whom Nixara had laughed at and called a lesser beast, was carrying him through fire. They moved slowly down the corridor. Daejang would take a few steps, then rest, then a few more steps. The dog was getting tired, but he never stopped. Security cameras on the walls recorded their slow journey. Later, those recordings would show something that many Tainari would find hard to believe. a loyal animal risking its life to save another species. After what seemed like hours but was probably only minutes, they reached a junction in the corridor. The air was clearer here. June could breathe better, but he was very weak from pain and smoke. "Daejing," he whispered, "I need to rest." He slumped against the wall. Daejang whined and nudged him, trying to get him to keep moving. "Just a minute," Jun said. His eyes closed. Daejang barked sharply. When Jun didn't respond, the dog did something amazing. He went back toward the fire, disappearing around the corner. Jun forced his eyes open. "Daejang, come back." Had the dog abandoned him? No, that wasn't possible. Daejang would never leave him. A few moments later, the dog returned. In his mouth was a piece of metal pipe that had fallen from the ceiling. He dropped it next to Jun. Jun understood. It was a crutch, something to help him walk. With shaking hands, Jun took the pipe. Using it, and Daejang's strong body for support, he managed to stand on his good leg. "You're more than a pet," Jun told the dog. "You're a hero." Daejang looked up at him with tired but determined eyes. Then he turned his head, sniffing the air, seeking the safest path forward. Together, man and dog began their escape from the fire. They were far from safe, but they were together. And sometimes, that was enough to create miracles. Jun and Daejang moved slowly through the service corridors of the Tinari ship. The metal pipe helped Jun hop on his good leg, but every step sent pain through his body. Daejang stayed close, letting Jun lean on him when needed. "We need to find the others," Jun said, his voice rough from the smoke. The sound of running feet came from ahead. Jun pulled Daejang into a small side passage. They hid in the shadows as a group of armed Tinari ran past. "They're looking for survivors," Jun whispered. When the Tinari were gone, they continued moving. Jun noticed that the service corridors connected to air ducts. Some were big enough for them to crawl through. "This way, boy," he said, pointing to a duct opening. The air duct was tight, but they could fit. Jun went first, dragging his broken leg. Daejang followed close behind. The metal walls of the duct carried sounds from all over the ship. Jun could hear fighting in some places, orders being shouted in others. After crawling for what felt like miles, Jun's strength began to fail. The pain and smoke had weakened him too much. "I need to rest," he told Daejang. He leaned against the wall of the duct. His eyes felt heavy. He knew it was dangerous to sleep, but he couldn't help it. The darkness began to take him. Daejang whined and licked his face, trying to keep him awake. But Jun slipped into unconsciousness. The German shepherd looked at his human with worried eyes. Then, with a determined huff, Daejang grabbed the back of Jun's uniform with his teeth and began to pull. Inch by inch, the dog dragged Jun through the duct system. When they came to a junction, Daejang would stop and sniff, choosing the path that smelled least like smoke and danger. Hours passed. Daejang's muscles ached. His paws were raw from the rough metal of the ducts. But he didn't stop. His human needed him, and he wouldn't give up. Through one vent, Daejang saw Nixura and her guards. They were in a control room, looking at screens that showed different parts of the ship. "The fire is contained to the diplomatic section," one guard said. "And the humans?" Nixura asked. "2 bodies found so far. Still searching for the others." Nixura nodded. "Good. When all are found, we will tell Earth that radical terrorists attacked their diplomats. We tried to save them but failed." "And the human with the animal?" "Lieutenant Kim. No sign of him yet, but he was badly injured. He couldn't have gone far." Daejang growled softly. He knew they were talking about his human. He needed to get Jun somewhere safe, away from these dangerous aliens. The dog continued pulling Jun through the duct system. Finally, they reached a larger opening that led to a dimly lit room filled with plants and strange equipment. With a final burst of strength, Daejang pulled Jun out of the duct and onto the soft floor of the room. Then the dog collapsed beside him, panting hard. A gasp made Daejang lift his head. Someone else was in the room. It was Yuna. The friendly Tainari scientist looked shocked to see them. "How did you?" she began, then rushed to Jun's side. "He's badly hurt." Daejang growled softly, not sure if he should trust her. "It's okay," Yuna said gently. "I want to help." She touched a panel on the wall, and a hidden door closed, sealing the room. "This is my private laboratory. You'll be safe here." Daejang watched as she examined Jun's injuries. The dog was exhausted but stayed alert, ready to protect his human if needed. "Your animal," Yuna said with wonder in her voice. "He carried you all this way." Jun was still unconscious and couldn't answer. But Daejang moved closer to him, resting his head on Jun's chest as if to say, "Yes, and I would do it again." Jun woke up slowly. He was lying on a soft surface. The air was clean and smelled like plants. His leg was wrapped in something stiff, and the pain was less. "He's awake," said a familiar voice. Jun opened his eyes fully. Yuna was looking down at him. Behind her, the walls of her laboratory were covered with growing plants and blinking lights. "Where?" he started to ask, but his throat was dry. "My private lab," Yuna said, offering him water. "Your dog brought you here through the air ducts." At the mention of Daejang, Jun tried to sit up. "Where is he?" "Here." Yuna pointed to the floor beside his bed. Daejang was sleeping there, his chest rising and falling steadily. The dog had patches of missing fur, and his paws were wrapped in soft bandages. "I treated his burns and cuts," Yuna explained. "He wouldn't let me touch him until I had taken care of you first." Jun reached down to stroke Daejang's head. The dog's eyes opened, and he immediately stood up, tail wagging. He put his front paws carefully on the bed and licked Jun's face. "Good boy," Jun whispered, hugging him. "The best boy." Yuna watched them with fascination. "I never understood before," she said, "the bond between your species." She turned to a screen on the wall and pressed some buttons. "I need to show you something." The screen lit up, showing security camera footage. It was Daejang, dragging Jun through the air ducts. Hour after hour of footage played, showing the dog's incredible journey. "He never stopped," Yuna said. "Even when he was clearly in pain, he kept going for you." Jun felt tears in his eyes as he watched. "That's what love is," he said simply. Yuna nodded slowly. "Yes, I see that now." She turned off the screen. "And I understand why Nixera fears it." "Fears it?" Jun asked. "Yes. Our people don't form such bonds. We respect strength and intelligence only. Nixera believes emotions make species weak and easy to control." "But that's not true," Jun said, still holding Daejang close. "Love makes us stronger. It gives us something to fight for." "I know that now," Yuna agreed. "And others must learn it too." She showed him another screen. The other human diplomats are alive. Captain Han and Dr. Reed are hiding in the shuttle bay. Ambassador Chu and Dr. Park are being held prisoner. "We need to help them," Jun said, trying to get up. "Not yet." Yuna pushed him gently back down. "You need more time to heal. And we need evidence of what Nixera has done." She held up a small device. "This contains all the security footage. The attack, the fire, and most importantly, your dog's rescue journey." "What good is that if we can't contact Earth?" Jun asked. "Nixera didn't block all communications," Yuna explained. "Only the official channels. My lab has a private link for scientific exchanges. We can use it to send messages." Hope filled Jun's heart. "So we can warn Earth about what's happening." "Yes. And more than that," Yuna said. "I've contacted others among my people who disagree with Nixera. They're helping Captain Han prepare the human shuttle for escape." Daejang barked softly, as if he understood the good news. Yuna looked at the dog with new respect. "When my people see what this lesser beast did for you, Many will question Nixura's beliefs. She reached out slowly and touched Dajiang's head. The dog allowed it, even wagging his tail. In our oldest legends, Yuma said quietly, there are stories of bonds between different kinds of beings. I thought they were just children's tales. But now I see the truth in them. Outside the lab, alarms began to sound. Nixura's voice came over the ship's speakers. All crew, the human terrorists are attempting to escape. Stop them at all costs. Yuna's eyes met Jun's. We're out of time, she said. We need to move now. 3 months later, Jun stood in the great meeting hall of Earth's Space Command. The room was filled with humans and Tainari. This time, the meeting was on human ground. Jun leaned on a cane. His leg was healing, but he would always have a slight limp. Beside him stood Dajiang, wearing a special uniform with medals pinned to it. The dog had been given the highest honor that both Earth and the Tainari could offer a hero. On the other side of the room was Nixura. She was in restraints, guarded by both human security and Tainari who had turned against her. Her eyes were dull now, without the swirling colors they once had. The escape from the Tainari ship had been dangerous. Yuma had helped Jun and Dajiang reach the shuttle bay where Captain Han was waiting. Dr. Reed had freed the other diplomats. When Nixura tried to stop them, the video of Dajiang's rescue was played on every screen in the ship. Many Tainari who saw the dog's brave journey turned against Nixura. They couldn't support someone who would kill a creature capable of such loyalty. Now, 3 months later, a new peace was being formed. The head of Earth Command stood up to speak. Today we sign a new agreement between Earth and the Tainari Collective. One based on mutual respect and understanding. The new Tainari leader, an older female named Taedo who had chosen a Korean name as a sign of respect, stepped forward. What happened on our ship showed us something important, she said. True strength is not found in weapons or power. It is found in bonds between beings, even different species. She looked at Dajiang. This creature, whom we once called lesser, showed us the meaning of courage and loyalty. Jun smiled and patted Dajiang's head. The dog stood proud, as if he understood the honor being given to him. After the speeches, people mingled in the room. Yuna approached Jun. She looked different now, more confident. Lieutenant Kim, she greeted him. It's good to see you healing well. Thanks to you and Dajiang, Jun replied. Without you both, I wouldn't be here. Yuma knelt down to be at eye level with Dajiang. The dog remembered her and wagged his tail. I have news, she said, standing up again. The Tainari Council has approved my research program. We're going to introduce companion animals to our people. Really? Jun asked, surprised. Yes, we've already started with small animals like what you call rabbits. Later, we hope to try dogs. She looked at Dajiang with clear respect in her eyes. We have much to learn from your bond. Across the room, Nixura was being led away to face justice for her crimes. She stopped when she passed Jun and Dajiang. For a moment, she just stared at the dog. I still don't understand, she finally said. Why would it risk its life for you? Because that's what love is, Jun answered simply. Something you never understood. Nixura had no reply to that. She was led away in silence. Later that evening, Jun sat in his apartment, watching the stars through the window. Dajiang lay with his head on Jun's lap, enjoying gentle pets. You changed everything, buddy, Jun told him. You showed them what humans have known for thousands of years. That the bond between different species can be one of the strongest forces in the universe. Dajiang looked up at him with wise, loving eyes. Then he licked Jun's hand once and settled down to sleep, content to be exactly where he belonged. On the table nearby sat a formal invitation. The Tainari had requested that Jun and Dajiang serve as special ambassadors to their world. A new journey was beginning. One that had started with laughter at a pet and ended with understanding of what true loyalty means. The end.